Welcome to another episode of Talkoma FD.
Talkoma FD. Yeah.
Nice. Good work.
You almost timed the clap perfectly.
We'll fix it in post, right, guys?
Yeah, we'll get it in post.
I wore my McConkey Panisi shirt. Look at that, guys. Can you see that?
It's a great shirt.
It's a great shirt. This was a sad story, right? This shirt, because it was season 2, and we had just started preparing for the promotion of season 2.
Right.
And was it the Chive?
There's the Chive, Chicago.
Yeah, the Chive had created this huge party in Chicago, and they made like 1,000 of these shirts.
Yeah.
And then like 3 days before, the COVID shutdown happened.
Right.
And it was like we were getting ready to go to Chicago. They were unpacking the shirts, handing them out to all the fans, and they shut it down for COVID.
Getting ready to drink some beers, some cold beers
we were
in
done.
Chicago.
We were done.
This is the real tragedy of COVID right here.
Yeah. But I've got 1,000 of these shirts in my closet now, so.
Do you think, you know how like the losers of the Super Bowl, they fly their shirts over impoverished countries and drop them in crates for the children?
They drop them right out of the airplanes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a bunch of kids in an impoverished country wearing McConkey Panisi shirts?
Might be.
From the
There
Chive?
They might be. Who are these people?
Yeah. ¿Quién son estas personas? That's if it was a Hispanic
I get you. But look how cool.
impoverished country.
I mean, they could they'd be like, who are these cool American guys?
Be like, look at that. They've got fire in their sunglasses
Jesus.
and sweet mustaches.
Yeah. We got a big episode here. This is a great one. This Firefighter Wake, a very different, unique episode, don't you think?
I sure do. I mean, this is our second week in a row that we got out of the station.
We did.
We did a barbecue in last week's episode, and now we are at a firefighter's wake. This is a delicate topic, but Cousin Bill, your cousin, our technical consultant, played an integral part in this episode. But, in
more ways than one.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
But he said this is, a firefighter wake.
But wait, let me just set up before we get there.
I realize I'm going.
You're jumping the gun. You're going full steam ahead. I just want to give credit to the director of the episode, our good friend LP, right? Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, because what you've done is you've interrupted a natural flow.
You're jumping the gun. Can we give people credit for the work they did on the episode first? The writer, the director, perhaps?
I was in a flow, and you fucked up my flow. Just because.
Where'd you get the pen from? Why do you have a pen?
Just because your list.
Why do you have a pen?
Because it's the only way I can deal with your bullshit. Because I need to point to the only order here is the order that you have put on your list. Exactly.
I take great care.
But we're talking about an episode, and I'm just flowing.
We'll get there.
I'm like this close to walking out of here. But I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah.
When you start going out of order in something, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Okay. All right. Big props to LP, our friend. LP, she goes by LP.
Lauren Palmagiano.
If you look her up on the internet, she's LP.
Yeah, right? Officially. In our credits, it's LP.
Yeah.
Because she felt people couldn't say her last name, Palmagiano.
Right. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, well, I'm part Italian. It's in my blood. Lauren Palmagiano.
Oh, that's nice. And then the writer...
Her last name makes me hungry. Sorry, I did that. I'm sorry to put ad-lib jokes.
No,
I know
good.
you have a list of things here.
That's why it's good to have you around. The writer, our friend Chandra Thomas.
Yeah.
Right? Chandra Thomas was in episode 1. Mm-hmm. She played the character Rhonda Shimes in that episode.
Yeah.
And she wrote this episode.
She sure did. She did a great job.
Great job. And it was fun because she came to the set when we were shooting the episode. And she brought her dad. Remember this?
Yeah, he was a great guy. We had a great time hanging out. It was awesome.
Okay. We'll go back to what you want to talk about.
I don't even remember. It's not what I want to talk about.
Well, we were jumping into, the episode already.
Right. Yeah. We were talking about firefighter wakes.
All right.
How crazy they are.
So Bill had mentioned to us that this was a very kind of unique element of the firefighter world.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to try to find those things that all firefighters will connect with. Mm-hmm. And we thought this was a great one. It's a little tricky because it deals with death and it deals with firefighter death, which we try to not deal with. And so we had to do that here. But of course, the guy didn't die on the job.
Correct.
He died in a wood chipper.
He goes his whole career without a scratch. And he tries stomping branches down into a wood chipper with both feet. Stupid.
So dumb.
Stupid.
So
Really
stupid.
What a dingbat.
Well, so that was the first choice we made was that, if you speak to a lot of firefighters, one of the jokes is that they won't go out in a blaze of glory in a heroic way. They'll slip in the tub.
Right.
and hit their head.
Right.
Which was, for us, the comedic way to deal with something like this.
Right.
Let's make him go in the wood chipper, which of course led to us saying, and he got chopped in half. So we went with the half coffin.
Sure.
And this guy happens to be a cheapskate. And so, you know, the jokes that these firefighters are making
Right.
is that this was his way of saving money because he was so
Sure,
cheap.
sure. One of my favorite visuals.
Right.
One of those late jokes in the game.
Yes.
You don't know that joke until you see the final episode.
No, the half casket.
The half casket. They erased the casket.
But you know, but this is an interesting thing now, because we had dealt with, you know, back in season 2, we did in episode 7, we dealt with the therapy, the PTSD
Right.
therapy,
Yep,
which is a sensitive topic. But again,
Yep.
we're making comedy here, and so the challenge was, how do we make it funny? Give the guy a funny death, and
then just sprinkle in these subplots that, you know, are just, character stuff that happens at this wake. And so we shot at this bar
right,
for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days.
yeah,
I wrote it down. I couldn't remember the name of it. The Canoga Park Elks Lodge, which is like, those are the kind of places where I grew up, where, you know, you would have events like this. You know, they're like kind of a darker bar, a lot of wood.
yeah,
You know,
they smell funny
sure,
in a good way.
yeah.
They smell like, you can tell some blood has been spilled in these
Sure,
places.
sure.
There's also something interesting. They've got like half stools. Do you know what I mean?
What do you, like they're not chairs, but they're not.
But they're not quite stools. They're
Right.
like somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
And I mean, I loved this place. And
I love it.
And we've been here before in season one.
We shot the boxing match there.
The boxing match was in the same location.
Yeah.
But this reminds me of the town. You know, I grew up in New York City.
It's an Elks Club.
It's an Elks. I've never been to that. That's
Sure.
a foreign thing.
That's where we would have, you know, like stag parties and, you know, retirement parties and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
What other kind of parties?
Wakes.
Sure. There you go. Firefighter wakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of character in these places. You know, this inspired the cold open, for instance.
Yeah.
Like we had heard about, at firefighter wakes, they pull up the pump trucks
Right.
and they fill them with beer.
But is that bullshit or is that a true story? Have guys?
I want to ask Cousin Bill if
Well, I remember he was involved in this conversation. It was, let's put some taps on the engine, and put some beers in there. And then it was a huge thing. Like you get your effects guy and your props guy and Bill, and they're figuring out how to make it work for real and that kind of stuff.
But we had heard about this, like and I don't know if it was Bill or if it was from somebody else, but like it actually was one of the components of the creation of the episode was the fire truck, the pump truck full of beer.
Right.
At a wild firefighter party. Like when we make these episodes, everything we have this master list of stories we've heard from firefighters, and we start to mix and match. And one of them was firefighter wakes, and one of them was firefighter parties in general, and how these things are pretty wild.
Sure.
Because firefighters,
They like to have a good time.
they like to have a good time.
They work hard, they play hard, Lemmy.
Well, they have to blow off steam.
That's right.
Because they see some crazy things and they live a high stress life.
Right.
And, and in a gathering like this, there are these toasts and there are tears and there is beer and people get fucked up.
Sure, there are fights.
And there are fights.
I've seen them.
And it's rowdy and it's bloody, and in the end, everybody comes together and has a great time because ultimately the point is to honor this person's memory.
Yes. And that's why I love the toast subplot in this thing. You know, it's like, those are always the great moments when people get up and give the great toast, you know. And although it's presented in this episode that Kevin Heffernan's not very good at it.
Maybe you should sit this one out.
Dutch was my friend and my mentor.
I know, and you're good at a lot of things, but giving toasts is not one of them. No disrespect, but your toasts tend to be a little bit serious and kind of boring.
But Kevin Heffernan is actually very good at it in real life.
Is he?
Yeah, quite good.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
I noticed on your list it said, and Lemmy's okay at it too. I wrote, that's bullshit. I'm awesome at giving toasts.
Well, I think that was the funny thing was that, creating this formula, right? The formula, Eddie Panizzi's formula for giving a good toast.
I just happen to know the formula. First, you open with a dirty joke. Then you make fun of somebody in the crowd. Then you tell a pandering story. You land the whole thing with a sentimental close, and you finish it all off by getting everyone in the room to drink. It's not rocket surgery.
Right.
which ultimately Terry hits the formula. You know what I mean?
Inadvertently, yeah.
But where did that formula come? Is that that's Lemmy's formula or no?
Well, that is Lemmy's formula, and I remember there was a time like it was even I was invited to speak at one of my high school commencement ceremony, the graduation.
Right. Okay.
I gave the commencement speech.
After you've attained your celebrity, you went back and give
Correct.
the speech.
Yes,
Okay.
my old advisor,
Yeah.
my homeroom advisor, called me up and he said, "Steve, are you sitting down?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You have been unanimously voted to be the commencement speaker at this year's graduation."
Whoa, bro.
And
did they give a diploma too?
I got a diploma. Or no, I didn't get a diploma from there because I left and came back to my New York City school. I graduated from high school.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, we're not talking about college.
Okay. I didn't know if they gave you an honorary, high school diploma when you went.
No, because I have a real one from
Oh,
the
you
high
do?
school I
Oh, okay.
graduated
Okay,
from.
got it. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I hold the record at that school for the highest jump in GPA, and it still stands.
The highest jump in GPA.
Yeah.
Like, how is that a thing? How is that a...
Because I was
Like,
getting...
what if you had a 0 and you went to like a C
Well, I basically had a 0,
and got to a C?
and I went to an A- average. Oh. Yeah, I jumped
for you.
36 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really you kind of had to bear down and
I did. I studied.
do your work.
I applied myself. Do you know, like, you're making fun of this moment, but this is a seminal moment in my life where I realized if I applied myself, as all the teachers for over a decade had told my parents every semester when they were destroying me in the parent-teacher meetings,
Right.
if he would just apply himself. We see he's smart.
Wow.
If he would just apply himself, he could be one of the best students here. And
That's
sure enough,
applicable to your career too.
my life. Yeah, but
Well, I think once, there was a point in time where you started really applying yourself.
right. So the first point in time,
And it bore success for you.
yes, the first time it bore success was
I'm serious.
was in this moment, and so I know. We might, like the firefighter wake, we might come to blows.
Yeah,
today.
it might happen.
But then we'll hug it out afterwards.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I spoke at this high school graduation,
Right.
and I was running my speech by your dad.
Okay.
And I said, so this is like, I had tried this opening joke a few times, and I was going to try it in my opening speech in the commencement.
Right.
So I'll just say my advisor's name was Mark Dillon.
Yeah.
And so my opening joke was going to be, when Mark Dillon called me up to tell me I had been voted as the commencement speaker for the class of 2007, one thing became perfectly clear. Mark Dillon had been smoking crack.
Okay. Oof.
And
I don't know if...
And your dad went like that. Your dad did the famous Heffernan.
I almost just did that.
Yeah. But this is. I illustrate this I tell a story to make a point.
Yeah,
and then I went out there and I did it, and the place erupted with laughter.
Do you think the entire faculty went like that? The kids loved it, but the faculty was like, ooh.
Well, the funny thing was
He won't be invited back.
the funny thing was that they're no. Do you know afterwards? So they were worried about me speaking in the first place.
Okay.
Because they were like there was faculty who was up in arms about it.
Sure.
Because they were like, he makes R-rated stoner movies. They were worried about what I was
Disreputable
gonna say.
comic.
Yeah, and in fact, I opened with that joke. But then ultimately, part of my speech was, this school is where I learned to apply myself.
Oh.
And because the dean of the school, in introducing me, he said, this student holds the record for the largest jump in GPA. Wow. And so I came out and said, this school is where I learned to apply myself.
Yeah.
And this school changed my life,
Yeah.
And if I'm here speaking to you guys, then anything is possible. You can accomplish anything.
Right.
Even if you're not at your highest point yet.
And then you fail out of college.
They don't know that. They don't know that. They don't know that. But and yet here I was, even with that.
Absolutely.
I was giving a commencement
Absolutely.
speech
And here you are
at that school.
at a certain level of success that no one achieves.
And by the way, even at the college where I failed out or dropped out, as it were, I am still listed as a notable alumni.
Very notable. One of the most.
That's right.
One of the most.
That's correct.
Right. So kids, anything's possible.
Yes.
You can fail out of college
Yeah.
and still
In fact, do that.
be recognized by that college.
And I have an honorary degree from
You
that
do.
college.
Actually, that's true too.
Yeah, I do. The administration showed up at one of our live shows to deliver me said honorary degree. Whether or not
An honorary doctorate.
Yes, exactly. But my point is this.
Okay.
Is that your dad gave me one of those
Yeah.
when I said the thing.
Yeah.
You just now almost gave me a,
Yeah.
you were like, oh, I don't know,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
which is probably what you were saying at the time. And yet the students love it. And after my speech, one of the faculty members who was like, do you know what? I was one of the ones who was opposed to you coming.
Yeah.
Said, that was an incredible speech. And I am sorry for opposing because
then you
that
punch him in the face.
that was wonderful.
Right? Then you punch him in the face.
Yeah.
That shows you, asshole.
Exactly. But here's my
But that's
point.
what you do to me.
Here's my point.
Yeah, go.
You and I and the Lemmies and the Heffernans have
Yeah.
different ways of approaching a toast.
That's true.
And my approach, you know, because I think where you and I do agree is that a toast in front of a familiar crowd
Right.
is an easier toast to give.
Layup.
You've got people on your
Yeah.
side. All you have to do is just not suck.
Yeah.
And so my formula has always been, like Eddie's, I think, is come out, give like an edgy joke,
Sure.
like a racy joke at the beginning,
Right.
then like probably rag on somebody in the audience,
Yeah.
you know, like what's up, dick face or something like that, you know, like make fun, like where'd you get that shirt? What time's the pizzeria want that shirt back?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and like everybody
Right.
laughs a second time, and then you say what we're here to do is honor our friend so and so. Or whatever, you know, this married couple's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
get married. You tell a funny story about them,
Sure.
and then everybody's laughing. You calm it down a little bit, and you're like, but
Something
I will tell
more
you
emotional.
something that really, and your voice
Yeah,
cracked.
voice cracks.
Your voice cracked. You know, something I do, and take a moment.
Right.
There's some acting in here.
Yep.
And then you bring the house down.
Yeah.
You talk about their character.
Sure. And then for years they're talking about that speech.
Yeah.
Remember the toast Lemmy gave at your wedding?
Yeah.
I mean, was that good or was that good?
And then you can end it with one of two ways after you've made people cry.
Yeah.
About like I'm telling a story about Kevin Heffernan, I'll make them cry.
Right.
And then I can either use a treacle cutter,
Right.
which is when like in a comedy.
Treacle cutter. That's a comic term. That's a comedy writing term.
Yeah, you have the serious moment, and then you break it with like, "Buddy was a fucking asshole," bada boom, and then everybody laughs. Or you can say, and you know what? You let them wallow in those tears, and you
boy.
say, "So let's raise a glass to
Okay.
this person."
It's
That's
really
how you
an
give a
art.
toast.
It's an art.
That's how you give a toast.
Yeah.
But Terry McConkey doesn't believe in this.
Well, Terry Congress doesn't believe it, but I would say I believe in that, except for I don't do, the one thing I don't do is the racy. I don't do the racy opening.
Right.
That's not my thing.
That's not your style.
But that's good because we compliment each other, right?
Yeah.
It's like, look at that poster. Okay, the burning sensation is back. Everyone liked that tagline. I didn't like that tagline
right.
because I thought it was a little,
Vulgar.
yeah.
It's a venereal
A little
disease.
untoward.
It's a venereal disease
Right.
tagline.
And we get these things, we get these posters and stuff, and then we decide, we come to our own conclusions when we first see it, and then we talk amongst each other,
Right.
And so, you came in and was like, love that line. I was like, I didn't like that line. I didn't like that line. And
Right. And your suggestion.
what was my
Your suggestion was like, more jokes. Like season 4, like coming back to tell more jokes.
Right. Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, I thought
But
we
it was
could
something
come up
like
with a line.
It was something like that.
Well,
right?
I did want something on the poster saying, "Come on back, it's a new season."
Right.
But that burning sensation line, I thought was a little vulgar.
Right. And I was like, no, absolutely no. That's a great tagline.
And you're right, because everyone says that's a good tagline.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I was the one trying to kill it.
Yeah.
So
like we had the Broken Lizard Boys over again the other day for
Right.
a super
We were doing
secret
a little writing, yeah.
super secret meeting.
Yeah.
And they were looking at all the Tacoma posters.
Yeah.
And Jay was like, oh my God, I love that burning sensation line.
Yeah.
I love that one. That's
Yeah.
the best one of all these taglines.
and then I say, tried to kill it.
Yeah. But there are things, you and I, and I don't want to go too deeply into them. But,
Okay.
But that is the nature of a good creative collaboration.
That's right. That's
Because we
right.
have that.
Yin and yang.
Yes, yin and yang. I don't want to okay, yes, this one was when I was pushing that you were against. We have the reverse of that.
Right.
There are plenty of times, and we have, I think, we have fun with that. We've talked about this, like in whether it's Tacoma FD or it's the Broken Lizard movies that we've made. There are times where we have these creative differences, where one guy's like, I know that's funny, and one guy's like, I know it's not funny.
Yeah.
And then you go to the test screening, and there's the moment of truth. And usually what wins out in the test screening is like, well, let's put it up in front of the audience and
Yeah.
see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll dump it. And if it does, we'll keep it.
Yeah.
And there's that moment of truth where the moment is coming up and your heart starts racing because
Yeah.
we're like, a couple seats down from the guy. And then it happens. Either they laugh or they don't. And then both guys
They look at each other across the room.
make eye contact. And we know We know who who got that one.
Can I tell my favorite test screening story?
I would love,
real quick.
love for you to. I would love for you to.
Okay,
it's not on your list. Though.
It's not on my list. But
okay.
See.
I know.
I'm going off book.
You're flowing.
But I like the story. So we were test screening Super Troopers 2 down in Orange County, and you go down there. It's a big theater, 300 people, and what we do is we record the audience so that you listen to the audience, and then what you do is you go back and you lay the audience track against the picture, and then you can see exactly where the laughs are in the movie. So it's just something, a lot of people do. We do it. And so what you have to do is record the audience during the screening. And so I actually had the recording device. I had it with me. And so I just sat, you and I, we sat in the middle of the audience to feel what it was like to be in the Super Troopers 2 audience. The first time we showed it to an audience. And we put the recording device down and we recorded the thing. So we get through the movie and went really well. We went back to the edit room. Mm-hmm. And we laid this track in, and we started to play it. And as we play it, all I can hear on the recording track is crunching. All I can hear is crunching. Like, I can't hear the audience. For the first, half an hour of the movie, all I hear is, and it turns out you got a thing of nachos.
Yeah.
And you put the nachos right next to the recording device, and then you ate the nachos next to the recording device inadvertently.
Yeah.
And it ruined the first half hour of our research.
Yeah.
Because all I could hear was nacho crunching.
Yeah. And you've also, in general, you've always found me to be a horsey eater anyway.
It is a little bit that
when
way.
I chew
and
my
especially
gum.
with nachos. And I was like, could you just hold off on the nachos, really, just for the first half an hour of our test screening?
You should have warned me that the device was right next to me. I would have put my nachos on the other side.
It went very well.
Hey, Blue Chew wants you to have better sex. You, Kevin. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it.
That's nice, right?
Man, I love that tagline.
We're on a blue couch.
Hey, we got a great deal for our listeners here, okay? You go to bluechew.com and enter the promo code Talkoma, T-A-L-K-O-M-A.
That's T-A-L-K-O-M-A.
And you'll get the first month free, okay? Just all you pay is $5 for shipping and handling.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah, bro. You go
Free?
Free. Wow. Free $99. That's the price.
Isn't it like other places like $10 a pill or something like that?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
You don't want that.
You don't want that.
No.
You get it free. You get it free.
First month free. Go to bluechew.com, enter the promo code Talkoma, T-A-L-K-O-M-A.
That's great.
Get a month free. You know what happens? It's totally discreet. It's online. You answer a few questions. You consult with their licensed medical professionals, and you find out what plan works for you.
And the mailman shows up and makes it rain.
Makes it rain.
You stuff a couple of bills in his G-string, send him on his way.
He'll wonder why you're putting bills in his G-string. He'll wonder, as a postman, why he's wearing a G-string in the first place. But you know why he is?
Yeah.
Because you now live on Sex Street.
Hey, baby. Maybe that's what you get for your postman, like for Christmas. Prescription. Yeah.
Well, what you do is you give your postman says, "Hey, man, why are you so happy?"
Right.
And you say, "Why? Because I'm the best lover on the planet." He says, "Why is that?" And you say, "Because I subscribe to bluechew.com. And so can you,
and
Mr.
then
Postman."
he does it, and then he just delivers to himself and cuts out the middleman.
Exactly. Like, imagine how happy the postman is when he gets to the post office,
right,
and he sees there's a package with his name on it.
This one's for me.
Yeah. It's a little tip for himself.
All
Merry
right.
Christmas to me.
So go to bluechew.com, get more details, more information. You get the safety information about it.
Promo code Talkoma, T-A-L-K-O-M-A.
And thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this podcast.
Hej, hur mår du? Jag är bra, tack så mycket. Jag heter Steve. Hey, snygga brillor. Okay, what language am I speaking? What did I just say? I was speaking Swedish. I said, hi, how you doing? I'm doing well. My name is Steve, cool sunglasses. Now here's the thing. If you want to learn a language, the best way to do that is by immersion, living in a place where the language is spoken. But since nobody really gets to do that, the next best way is with Babbel. Okay? Babbel has their own theme song. It's my favorite sound in the world because that sound is the sound of learning. That's right. With Babbel, for just 10 minutes a day, you could be speaking a new language in 3 weeks. And if you can do that in 3 weeks, just imagine what you could do in a whole year. Okay? So if, like 1 in 5 people, learning a new language is on your bucket list for 2024, Babbel is the place to go. Okay? Because for just 10 minutes a day in 3 weeks, you can be learning practical stuff like asking for directions, ordering food off a menu, asking for help, how much does something cost, and you don't have to use one of those clumsy language apps. So we have a special deal for our listeners, okay? You listen to Talkoma. You go to babbel.com/Talkoma, okay? That is BABBEL.com/Talkoma, TALKOMA. And you will receive 55% off of your Babbel subscription. That's for our listeners only. So 55% off. Go to babbel.com/Talkoma, okay? Rules and restrictions apply. Now, studies by Yale, University of Michigan have shown that 15 hours of Babbel is the equivalent of an entire semester at a college. What does that say to me? Well, one of two things. Either that college is a waste of time, or that Babbel is just as good as going to a college. I prefer that. So go to babbel.com/Talkoma. 55% off your subscription to Babbel. You will be learning Swedish in 3 weeks, or Spanish, or Italian, or Russian, or Chinese. It doesn't matter. Any language you want. Okay. Developed by over 150 language experts, Babbel is conversational, it's practical, and it's the way to go if you want to learn a new language. Tack Hey då!
The other thing about this speech, these speeches thing is that you had this thing you said a couple times, and I always questioned it, and you said it was a thing that was this thing, it ain't rocket surgery.
It ain't rocket surgery.
Yeah.
It ain't rocket surgery.
Yeah.
And I know I corrected you a couple times. Where it ain't rocket science. It ain't right. That's the saying is it rocket science.
Yeah, you're like, it's not rocket science, or
Yeah.
it's not brain surgery.
Right.
And I
But
said,
you were like, I know that. You were doing this intentionally.
yeah, I said, that's the joke.
Right.
And then even Cousin Bill came
Joking,
in,
yeah.
he was like, yeah, Kev, that's the joke.
But I thought you had some friend that
Rocket surgery.
that used to say that all the time.
No.
For real.
No, I remember we,
It ain't rocket surgery.
Jay and I, if I remember correctly, Jay and I, and my memory has come into question lately, but we were down in Baton Rouge.
Why is your memory? Because of COVID?
Working at Dukes of No, when we had Heather on a couple of weeks ago or last
Okay.
week, she was telling me. But you know, like sometimes when telling a story, you like to embellish,
Sure.
and start to exaggerate things, and so it seems like you don't remember properly. But anyway, I remember hearing rocket surgery for the first time back when we were making Dukes of Hazzard.
Sure.
We were hanging out with
But do you think people, when they watch you say that in the episode, well, it's not the right saying. Like, it's one of those deals where you don't know if you're making a joke or you're not making a joke.
I think a lot of people know that. Do you? You know, in fact, everybody who's watching this right now, hit us up on social media and tell us whether or not you have heard of the term rocket surgery before, or if you thought I was a moron for saying
surgery.
it. Yeah.
It ain't rocket
It
surgery.
ain't rocket surgery. Because it ain't rocket science, it ain't brain surgery. Like everyone
Sure.
knows those.
Sure.
It's not rocket surgery.
You mix them together.
Yeah. In fact, I thought you should have been able to make the jump, because even making the jump was not rocket surgery.
Make the jump when we were filming.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, it is a funny thing. You know, so Kevin and I know each other very well, don't we, Kev?
I think so.
It is funny, like even at the beginning of this podcast, when we weren't getting along. Like Kevin and I can look into each other's eyes and we can sense something. And like I know when I'm bugging Kevin, or I know when Kevin is affected, and vice versa.
Right. Yep.
You know, and like I remember doing rocket surgery, and I could see like
Yeah.
something
not compute. Does not
something
compute.
happened in your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The computer got
Yeah.
jammed up. Yeah, and second time, and it was after the second one where you were, because the first time you were like, oh, he just fucked up his line.
Right.
The second time was when you came in, you were like, do you, you know, you're saying rocket surgery. I was like, yeah. And you're like,
That's not the same.
It's actually rocket science and brain surgery. I was like, I know, that's a thing. And then Bill immediately jumped, piggyback.
Sure.
But, you know, that's Bill and I have bonded about, you know, what it's like to deal with you.
I guess so. We'll talk. We can talk to him about it.
I can't wait.
We'll have him on later.
I can't wait to talk to him.
One of the big guest stars in this episode,
Yeah.
our old friend, Mr. MC Gainey.
Right.
Who plays McSwiggins, who is the old timer who used to haze me, and we kind of want to do a little bully episode.
Yeah.
Where Terry Steadden's up to his bully.
Yeah.
And so we went and got one of the all-time greats, MC Gainey. We've worked with him so many times. He's been in Club Dread, Beer Fest. He was in Dukes of Hazzard, all kinds of stuff. And you know this guy. I mean, you see him in everything. He's in Con Air, and he was in Django, and he was in Lost, and he's got like 200 credits.
Breakdown, like basically, and like starting, I don't know, in like the late 80s, 90s.
The 70s. This is how far back he goes.
Yeah.
He was in the original Dukes of Hazzard TV show, and he was on Happy Days. He was on Happy Days.
As a tough guy?
I don't know.
Probably.
I can't even remember.
As a tough trucker.
But like, you know, people watching this thing don't even know what Happy Days is. But he was on Happy Days.
It's true. But it's like, I remember the first time seeing him, and it was in all those like Con Airs and Breakdowns and all those movies with like Danny Trejo and like and he had like, and MC had a long ponytail.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was striking.
Yeah.
And he was badass.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's like 6'6" or something like that.
But he still carries himself, though. He's the most gregarious guy and the funniest guy and the sweetest guy, but he has that toughness to him.
Yeah.
And like he takes over a set. Like he'll walk on a set and be like, hey, buddy, hey, you, hey, buddy, boo, you know? And I remember the first time I met him, which went awry a little bit.
You fucked up.
I fucked up. But we were casting Club Dread, and we were meeting actors, and he came in to meet for the part that he ultimately got, Hank. And I was excited because we're character actor fans. You know, we love those character actors that are memorable, and MC was always one of those guys. And I think I probably had recently seen Con Air,
Yeah.
where, you know, he's in Con Air. And so I was excited to see, I saw him on the list. I was excited to see him, but you see him on the list, and you just see his name written on the list, and it says MC Gainey.
Yeah.
And it didn't have any punctuation in it. So I thought that was his name.
And clearly you're a human computer, like, you know, syntax. I mean,
Sure.
geez, that fucked you up.
It did totally fuck me up. And so, like, I was so excited to meet him. You know, I was going to talk to him about, you know, what movies I loved him in, da-da-da. And I went out, it was my job. Like, I went out and greeted him in the waiting room in front of all the other, you know, actors that are sitting there. And I walked out to him, and I'm like, oh, Mick Gainey, it's so great to meet you. You know, I'm a huge fan of you, and I can't believe Mick Gainey's coming to see us and whatever. And he looked at me, he's like, it's MC Gainey. That's my name, MC Gainey. And I was like, oh, I thought it was Mick. I thought it was like one word, like share.
Yeah, like McDonald's. McGaney.
And so it started off on a rather bad note.
Yeah, well, and you have to imagine. I mean, this is a guy who, like, look, he's an actor. He's a great actor,
Yeah.
but you know, he came up. You know, he was, you know, a tough guy in real life.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to assume that his wiring is still such that he's going to look
Right.
at a guy like you,
Yeah. Immediately hate me.
and hate you. You know, and me hate even more.
Yes.
I actually feel with MC, like, I mean, he's a really intimidating guy.
Yes.
And I feel like it took us a long time to like really click. Like
It did.
When we made Club Dread, like he and Bill. I mean, he played Bill's bodyguard.
Bill Paxton, yep.
essentially.
Yep.
And those guys, they had probably acted in some things together.
I don't know. I mean, I remember talking to them about them, and they just became fast friends when we
Yeah.
were down in Mexico. I mean, just you know,
Fast friends.
inseparable guys at that point.
Started, you know, party buddies down in Mexico, and then afterwards they started vacationing in that town where we shot Club Dread.
Yeah.
Every year they would go meet up again. They
Yeah.
just, you know, they got along incredibly well. But I always felt that he looked at me the way we were talking about, like he just hated me. I was like, you know, a 5'8" college boy.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Who like?
And he's not that guy.
No, he's not that guy.
Yeah. And I was definitely intimidated him. And then we got to know him so well on Club Dread. But I was intimidated. We had this moment. I don't remember this on Club Dread, but he has this big speech, right, where we first kind of meet him, and he talks about, you know, finding serial killers and, you know, his career and whatever it was.
This guy's playing a game, and we're gonna play right back. Just keep cool, and this cat'll come to us. And when he does, I promise you, I'll be there with my whopping stick.
So we shot that whole scene, and we shot his stuff, and he was great. And what happened was the film got fucked up, and his takes got ruined. Like his side of the shots got ruined, and you know, and so we had to shoot again. And he did such a good job. And so I, for some reason, was the guy and went and told him, and I was so fucking scared.
Hey, Mick.
Hey, Mick Gainey, it just so happens that your film got ruined and that performance that you put on it no longer exists. So I went to go tell him this, and I was scared, because I didn't know how he was going to react. I didn't know him that well, and I told him this, and he went, "Yes," and I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That's good," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Kevin, let me tell you something. As an actor, you always want another take." He said, any actor would love to get the chance to do it over again because they think about what they did wrong. He goes, "I think I did some things wrong, and I'm excited to get another shot at it." And I was like, that's such a fucking great attitude. Because other people you go to, they'd be like, "Oh, Jesus." He was like, "I'd love another swing at the plate." You know what I mean? I'd love another shot at it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great reaction.
Well, it's interesting.
And that's his personality. That's the kind of guy he is.
And that's the thing about MC is like he's a big tough guy, and then you work with him and you realize that he actually cares about the craft of acting, and he cares about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I actually think what the cool thing about MC is after Club Dread, his career started to make a turn. Like he appeared in the movie Sideways.
Yeah.
Which was, a decorated film, and it's funny because he does play a tough guy in that.
Right.
But he's also totally nude.
Totally naked, dick hanging out. Do you remember hanging out with them beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were at Mike Weaver's wedding, our mutual friend Mike Weaver, and MC would not eat or drink at the wedding. We're like, what the fuck? Why, he's a good guy to eat and drink with.
Yeah.
And he wasn't eating or drinking.
And look, so it's like
he had to be nude next week.
So Kevin does it. I do it. Like when we got ready for Club Dread, we dieted. Every movie we make, every time we shoot a new season of Tacoma FD, we diet.
Yeah.
And we exercise, and we start talking about it.
Yeah.
And we're like, "What's your diet?" "Oh, I'm doing small portions."
Yeah.
And I'm doing 2-a-days. I'm exercising in the morning, and then I'm hitting the treadmill at night. And you start to realize, and then like people bring you a pizza pie, and you're like, "Oh, God damn it!" You get mad at them for like doing something nice, like, "Oh, why'd you bring cupcakes? You fucking asshole!" God damn it. And then you start to talk about the fact that you're talking like this way, and you're like, "Oh, we're such fucking
what a loser,
like douchey actors."
Yeah.
But it's nice that then a guy like MC Gainey, who is not that kind of guy,
not at all,
has a nude scene,
right?
And of course he's worried.
And you
about
can't even give a shit about it,
no,
because he's too tough.
He's too tough.
You're like, "Come on now, fuck it, man! I gotta waggle my dick around for Alexander Payne."
Yeah,
you kidding me?
That's exactly what it sounds like.
And he did. And it's a memorable scene. There's no question about it.
Yeah, go
He's
watch
the big naked guy running down the street.
Go watch Sideways.
It's fantastic.
But anyway, this was the perfect guy to play your nemesis, the one that hazed you when you were a probie.
Yeah.
His name is McSwiggins. McSwiggins was the name of an Irish bar we used to go to in New York City.
Yeah. Sounds like an asshole name.
Yeah, McSwiggins. And of course, this also leads to Toilet Terry.
Yeah, the Toilet Terry thing, it was... there was a story, right? I can't remember where it came from, though, but it was like a guy who would take a nervous shit. Is it a firefighter story? A guy would always have, or Bill story?
So there's two versions. Okay. Well, we know a guy who takes those nervous poops. That's Jay Chandrasekhar.
He does?
Every time before we do stand-up comedy,
I don't think I know that.
He would go and do that.
I know he'd get drunk, but I don't know if he would.
He would do both.
He'd
get drunk and poop.
Okay.
But we had
nervous shits.
We had heard it wasn't so much a nervous thing, but it was about sometimes as a firefighter, you're fighting a fire and you're in the middle of a blaze, and you have to go to the bathroom,
right.
And you're in a building with no people in it, and so there are times where they have caught other firefighters like on the can, and you've got the turnouts and everything, and they're there in their tanks and their SCBAs because they got to breathe, but they're using the toilet.
Okay.
And how it's just a funny way to find one of your your partners.
Okay. All right.
But we worked that into your backstory, Toilet Terry.
Back when your chief was a probie, and I use my quotation marks mockingly.
Figured.
Every call we got, he had to take a nervous shit. You'd be in a burning building, break down a door, only to find this guy perched on the shitter.
That happened once.
Maybe twice.
Just once.
But that's how you got your nickname, Toilet Terry.
Okay, because I couldn't remember where it came. Like there was also that story. I don't know if we're allowed to share or we should share or not. But like Brian Cox got caught on the set of Super Troopers taking a shit on the set, right? Like somebody walked in on him, and he
Stolhansky.
Yeah, and he got Logan Roy mad at them.
Yeah. Well, because the problem was, with Super Troopers, it was a low budget movie, and I guess we didn't even have the money to put a lock on the door of the bathroom.
Sure.
And it wasn't like a trailer, and we didn't have trailers on Super Troopers.
Right.
So it was just on the set. and Brian was in there, and Eric walked in on him, and Brian was like, "Oh, fuck off! Get the fuck out of here!"
Does anyone remember privacy?
Yeah. And now, like, you know, when we make Super Troopers 3, he's going to yell at us for telling these stories about him.
That's true. Well, it's not like the shitter story is like he was doing something wrong. Like, we have shitter stories where people took shits on sets in toilets that were fake toilets.
Yeah. Season 3 of Tacoma FD.
Yeah, somebody did.
Well,
right?
we had we built the bathroom set.
Right. It does not a real bathroom. It doesn't have it's not real running water in there.
Yeah. And
somebody went in there and took a shit in the toilet.
Yeah.
And you're like, who the fuck did that?
Yeah.
What dummy did that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine their fear though when they went to go flush the toilet and there's nothing there?
And nobody ever fessed up on that one.
No, it's true. The other thing was funny about it with MC was that I got to fight him, where we had this elaborate brawl between MC and myself.
Yeah.
And you know, I felt bad because I was fucking winded and hurting, and you know, he was taking it more than I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you kicked his ass.
I did, and I felt bad too because in real life, even though you know he's older than I am, he probably kicked my ass anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but you know, the nice thing is we did get some stunt guys in there to take care of us. You know.
Well, you have to. I mean, it's like first of all, it's like I remember watching you and MC, and then also the stunt guys. It's like if everybody's ever seen the documentary Grizzly Man.
Yeah.
When the two grizzly bears wrestle each other, and actually one takes a shit while they're wrestling. But that's what it was like. Like this is a heavyweight battle.
Yeah.
And your stunt doubles.
Yeah. My son was Ken Clark, and Ken Clark doubled me in many things.
In Club Dread.
He did. Well, you know, I have a picture of us way back then. We could throw it up there.
Yeah.
But he did Club Dread and Slam and Salmon. He doubled me in Dukes of Hazzard, and then he's doubled me a little bit in this show, and he doubled me for this fight. And then the other guy is Stephen Brailer, and Steve Brailer, he was in Quasi.
Yeah.
And if people remember from Quasi, it's the guy that Gabe stabs, and he has to stab him on the ground. He's the guy who won't die on the ground.
Yeah.
And then we used him again. He's a guy chasing you through the. He's the guy who goes merde. You know, he can't
he's
find
chasing
you
me
in
through the market and then the town square and the hall.
So Steve's also a guy who we've worked with a bunch of times. And it was fun to have them, and you know, actually, I have a good picture of the four of us kind of standing together in our outfits. We'll throw that up too. But Steve and Ken, they did all the flipping over in the chairs and all that bullshit.
Here's the thing: we need stunt doubles.
Ah, fuck, man! I tell you, and Ken is probably he's probably a little younger than I am, but still, he's a very experienced and been around for a long time stuntman.
He also looks exactly like you.
And he looks like me. But he looks like a much tougher version of me.
He does.
There's a tougher version.
He is a tough version of you.
Yeah.
He's a stuntman. But we need stuntmen because I've realized anytime we have not used stuntmen, people get hurt. Super Troopers, we had the big fight scene at the end, at the airstrip.
Who got punched? Weaver?
It was James Grace.
Oh, James Grace got punched.
Got hit with a
flashlight, right?
Flashlight.
Yeah.
Smashed his nose.
Yeah, he played Officer Rando.
Who knows? It's Smy or Rando.
It's Rando. Yeah.
But yeah, he got hurt then. And, when we did the Stipe episode with Gabe, Stipe's, we didn't use stunt doubles because it's supposed to be an easy fight. And Stipe's, the tip of his finger hit Gabe's nose and knocked Gabe out.
Oh, Jesus. I hit him. I'm sorry. I hit him.
Holy shit.
You're right. Oh. I'm sorry. I actually hit him. I'm sorry. You're right. My finger hit him. I'm sorry. Okay. I hit him.
In Dukes of Hazzard, I'm in the opening scene of Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Chasing the General Lee.
Yep, you're hanging out the
window,
the truck, right? The pickup truck.
Yeah, so my father,
a shotgun.
Yeah, Barry Corbin, my father, is driving, and I'm shooting the shotgun at the General Lee, and I said, I want to do this stunt.
Yeah.
So because I was trying to be tough.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a tough guy, and they're like, all right, we're going to harness you in, so that way you can get the shot of me like shooting.
Sure, right.
Otherwise, that part is going to go to a stuntman.
Right.
But I said I want to do it, and so they harnessed me. So I'm sitting with my butt on the, I'm sitting out the window, leaning out the window with my butt on, and I'm harnessed in there so that in the off chance that something goes bad in this car chase,
right,
I don't fly
out the fucking right.
And sure enough, and it's it's through the forest basically. This car chase.
Right. It's a chase in the woods
with like the truck's fishtailing, the General Lee's fishtailing, and sure enough, the driver lost control of the car, and we skidded out and smashed into a tree.
Yeah.
And that the harness did catch me,
right?
Luckily, but if that had been like a foot to the left,
my God,
I would have been dead.
Oh my God!
But I still I did get hurt.
Yeah.
And I was done for the day.
Sure.
And no more doing my own stunts.
I remember that. That was kind of scary. And those are those kind of things like no big deal. I think the older we get, we're like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I saw a great clip of Brad Pitt the other day. He was talking about stuntmen, and he was talking about just getting older.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I don't like shooting at night anymore.
Yeah.
And I let stuntmen do all my stunts.
Yes.
And in fact, I have forgotten the first rule of Fight Club. And everyone laughed, and I was like, all right, anyway. Right. But yes, stuntmen are a plus.
Oh. The other thing about this episode where this was the subplot of these guys, this Mission Impossible kind of subplot, right? Where, while we have all our business, we got to figure out what these other guys are doing. And so we came up with this fantasy football winnings, and that these guys would have to go try to figure out how to get this money from this corpse.
Yeah.
And so it was Granny and Ike and Lucy were the three stooges in this episode where they were sneaking around. And some of that stuff was the stuff we had to write you out, because I think maybe you were probably involved in some of those scenes, and then we had to take you out because of the COVID. But,
yeah, which was fine.
Which is fine.
Just less work for me. But because sometimes here's the thing about this plot is fantasy football is something near and dear to our hearts.
Yes.
And getting money that you've won can sometimes be difficult.
And Granny wanted that money, even though the guy was dead.
Right. And so now they've got the Mission Impossible. Right. How do you get the money from that guy who has died?
Right.
And now you've got to navigate some things.
Yeah.
Including his wife.
His wife.
His widow.
Who was played by Gina Hecht.
A legend.
And you would read her name and it would say Gina, Gina, but she goes by Gina.
Right.
Which is always a very funny, it's like the MC Gainey thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I loved her, she was, Night Shift. She's Henry Winkler's wife at Night Shift all those years ago, and she was on Mork and Mindy. She's on tons of stuff. She's on the show Dave now. But anyway, we always loved her, and she came and did this part with us, and I was like, Gina, so good to meet you. She's like, it's Gina.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, I did it again.
Well, and that was the thing, is you told me that story, and then I was coming back to the set, post-COVID, and I made the mistake too. I was like, Gina, she goes, it's Gina. And I was like, oh, right. She goes, I know, it's stupid. And I was like, no, it's not. It's your name. She's like, it should be Gina.
No, Gina. Yeah. Come on.
But she was awesome. We grew up watching her. She was fantastic.
Wonderful.
I always love having the trained actors.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not.
Very professional. She did a great job.
She was awesome.
Like, you watched that episode and she hit everything. She acted drunk at times. She was, she was dismissive of Terry. And in the end, she was sinister.
Thanks, Granny. That is so sweet of you.
Of course.
Sucker.
But that was also the plot. Part of the plot was that, Hassie was going to distract everyone by singing Danny Boy. And, Danny Boy it's a firefighter song in the sense, they sing it at the wakes and they sing them at the funerals. And
well, it's an Irish song.
It's an Irish, and so, the idea was that at some point someone would sing it. The funny thing is that, Hassie, I love her. I love you. But she's not
careful.
And she's a talented and funny and wonderful person and actor, but
careful.
She can't really carry a tune.
Kevin. Kevin,
is that unfair to say? Is that unfair to say?
How did we find out?
Well, we found out in season 1 when we did the Disco Inferno scene.
Yeah.
Right? We did the shower scene where all the guys were and Lucy were singing Disco Inferno in the shower, which was based on like the White Shadow, those the show The White Shadow, where everyone's singing in the showers. So anyway, so each guy had to come in to the ADR booth and record their versions of singing it, and then we would marry it all together, and then we put the sound into the scene later. And she came in and she couldn't quite hit the notes on it.
Not quite. And it's funny because we were in the booth with her,
right?
And you were trying to coach her,
right?
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah.
And It took a while. I think we got there.
Well, that's why they have machines.
I think we got there.
Computers do that shit. But so the idea was, let's have her sing Danny Boy here. And she was such a great, we leaned into it. And, she's intentionally singing bad now in this.
Intentionally.
Intentionally.
We told her just to be yourself.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
From glen to glen and down the mountainside.
And the funny thing is that there are only a couple of us who actually, I didn't know the words to Danny Boy.
Yeah.
I know of Danny Boy.
Yeah.
I think Marcus knows of Danny Boy.
Yeah, Gabe. Yep. As an Irishman, Gabe knew.
Well, Gabe knew.
Yeah.
He knew the lyrics, but we were all, it was fun. That morning, we were all, the night before, I started to learn.
Sure. Well, I sent it to everybody.
You did.
Way in advance.
Yeah.
I was like, I know this is going to be a fucking problem. And look at the scene. You got 40 extras also singing Danny Boy. And it can't be like they're not getting it right. It's got to be like, this is the song everyone knows.
Right.
And so I sent it to you guys weeks in advance, and none of you fucking looked at it. None of you looked at it.
What an accusation.
Admittedly. And meanwhile, for a week or two, I'm driving to the fucking set, singing it in my car. You know what I mean? But I sent, lyrics, and I sent videos of it, whatever, so we'd be ready.
Well, I remember a few of us, I downloaded a version which wasn't to your liking. It was
there are many versions.
It was probably a Harry Connick version or something like that. Or like a Josh Groban version or something like that.
The one I sent you.
But it's probably the Irish tenors.
It was, Ronan Tyne.
Ronan Tyne, your boy. Your boy Ronan Tyne. But I remember, and it was the kind of thing you're so Irish, it was one of those moments.
Oh, Danny boy.
Where we were in the hair and makeup trailer listening to a version of it, and you came in and you were like, what the fuck is this? You're like, this is a bullshit fucking version of this song. This is the one. And then
Who the fuck is this?
Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
All morning, everyone was singing Danny
Crying.
Boy.
Everyone was singing and
It's
crying.
such a sad song.
It is so sad.
I never knew.
It's so sad.
It's about a father or a mother
sending their child off to war.
Sending their little Irish boy off to war
horrible.
against the British. Oh.
It's sad. We all cried when we did it, but it came out. I think right. Also, Jason Akana, our composer, he put the music in there, and that really beefed it up for us.
Yeah.
You want to have a guest?
I would love to have a guest.
How about our good friend, technical consultant, and Dutch Engels himself? Should we talk to Bill Heffernan?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do it.
Cousin Bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now on Talkoma is our technical consultant, also an actor in the current episode, and my cousin, Lieutenant William Heffernan of the West Haven Fire Department. Thank you, everybody. Okay, look at that fucking shirt, man.
Look at that.
That's a good-ass shirt right there, bro.
It's
okay. It is. It's great
okay.
shirt.
There's a lot of shit we want to talk to you about, so let's jump in. I wanted to talk about this episode, this idea in general about this firefighter wake. The idea came from you.
Yes.
Because, I think, what we try to do is get, general kind of areas or things that would be common to all firefighters and then, common to all kinds of people. And one of the things that we had talked about for a while was doing this wake episode. But the trick for us was to try to crack it where it wasn't sad or tragic. But a firefighter wake was something that you had talked about for a long time.
Well, there's certain things that are, indicative to being a firefighter. Weddings, wakes, funerals, parades, conventions, stuff like that. There's a bunch of things that we need to address during the show, and it makes for a great episode. When I pitched this to you, you said we can't do a funeral. It's a comedy. We're not allowed. I said, but let me tell you the story about my friend Chris O'Keefe. And then I think we were in Steve's backyard or something at the time, and I stood up and I'm doing almost like a stand-up routine. And by the time I was done, I think Steve said, we were thinking maybe a cold open. We're going to do a whole episode on this. It's fantastic.
Well, I tell you this also, and I think Chris is a guy that we dedicated the episode to, right? And
yes, we did.
you'll see there's a little card at the end a guy who passed away prematurely, and we dedicated the episode to him. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, the adjustment we made is we didn't want him to perish in the line of duty. It was your character was going to go out in a wood chipper accident.
But honestly, what the hell was Dutch doing jumping in a wood chipper?
I know. I told him he needed to hire someone to mulch those branches, but, well, at least he died doing what he loved.
Saving money.
But I think part of it was, talking about it's the drinking and the crying and the speeches and the fist fights and things like that, which I think are just make for fun stuff.
Some of the stuff is probably not suitable for television.
Correct.
But Chris O'Keefe was in our little cartel of lockers. We had a little special corner that the guys had lockers in, and we leave our lockers open all the time. Help yourself to a bar of soap or toothpaste or whatever. He was notorious for taking your stuff and never giving it back.
Right.
And it was a running thing with him. It's like, I can't find such and such. Oh, Keith probably has it, like that. And I was up at the casket during the wake, and of course, it's very emotionally charged, and it was a horrible time. And I was standing with my friend Joe, and he looks down into the casket and he says, "Holy shit, that's my tie bar." I said, "What?" And he starts to reach in to take it off the dead body. And I'm like, "Joe, what are you doing? Stop that." He goes, "I've been looking everywhere for that. I knew we had it. I knew it." Like that, right? So I finally convinced him. I said, "Listen, I swear to God, we'll get that thing off of him before they put him in the ground. We'll give it back to you. Do not take the thing off in front of the family, for the love of God." So we turn and we walk away. We're going to pay our respects. And I hear the guy behind me says, "Those are my fucking shoes." It's my hat. So it was very comical. Now it wasn't really at the time.
Sure. Hearing those things were the things that kind of inspire, the ideas that you do. And then, I think another part of the fun part of this was that, you giving us these stories and being so involved. And then we're like, you know what, Bill, why don't you play the dead guy? Why don't you play Dutch Angles? And so we decided to put you in the casket, and then you would be the dead guy.
But we've tried to get Bill to act in the show before.
Yes.
Like in season 2, we had him act in episode 7.
Yeah, there was a flashback. Yeah,
a flashback to the old timers, how tough they were.
Hey, it's gonna get a lot worse. Here's what you do: suck it up. Go to the bar, drink some shots, and earn the right to puke, you fucking pussies. Hey, maybe you should open up a flower shop.
You fucking new guys. Why don't you go back to the station and knit each other a couple of sweaters? Go on, let's go get a couple of steaks with extra fat.
But unfortunately, we had to cut that scene out.
Right. Not because of Bill's performance. Bill's performance was
He just didn't want me to upstage you. That was the whole thing.
That's exactly. It was because of Bill's performance.
But that's what the thing is in this episode is that, yes, you are dead. And yes, you don't speak.
Well, I didn't screw up one line all the time.
But you are ever present, and it's fantastic because you get a sense of who this guy is all the way through. He's a cheapskate. He's this, he's that, he's the other thing. And there's so much kind of funny backstory to that character.
And then, of course, there are your eyeballs. Originally, you had the corpse contact lenses in when they open up your eyes. And we really liked that. There was a debate about whether we even needed to touch that. But then ultimately, we decided to remove your eyes altogether.
In VFX, they removed your eyeballs, which also was a little bit disturbing, I thought.
It's very disturbing.
But you had to sit there and you had to not breathe and you had to. How did that go? How did you enjoy acting as a corpse?
Well, I was all set to throw out the funny line. Boy, this is the most uncomfortable casket I've ever been in. But it was horrible. It's like lying on a ladder in there. And obviously, they're usually you only use them once and you're dead, so you don't care. But,
yeah, they're not designed for comfort, Bill.
No, and of course I had to keep getting in and out of it too,
Yeah.
And the thank God for Patrick and his guys that they made a shelf in there out of a piece of plywood that I could lie on because
grips, yeah.
My foot got caught at one point. I think we broke the hinge on the lid, But it was once I was able to lie on something sturdy, it was okay.
So
people climbing on you and playing with your face, and
the other thing was friggin' Marcus Henderson, Granny. gets a little carried away.
Yeah.
He's a big man, and we've all seen his feats of strength, but he did something where, all of a sudden they have to pretend, the widow comes in and they're like, oh, Dutch, and he leaned over and he hit me in the stomach.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, I totally broke my ribs,
He came back to
and
life.
then he did it again. And I think I said something like, I'm going to get out of this casket sooner or later, Marcus. You better knock that shit off. But what am I going to do? The guy's like a freight train.
The other funny thing was that death photo. It's that photo we have, and we had it set up outside the bar, and then you see it. We have it up in the bar, and we got it. There you go.
Smiling Dutch
angles.
Do you remember the line about it's not rocket surgery? And
yes.
And do you want to give your version of it, of Kevin?
Of me?
Of Kevin not understanding that joke?
Well, I just didn't. I was like, Lemmy, it's rocket. The saying is rocket science.
It's rocket science or brain surgery or whatever.
Right.
But he said rocket surgery. I went right out there because I want him to keep that in. My partner for years, Eric Soboleski, said that all the time.
You say rocket surgery?
All the time. It's not rocket surgery, It was like his shtick. I mean, he knew he didn't say it by mistake. He would just say it like that on purpose. And that's why I said to Steve, so if you leave that in, it's great because Eric's going to put it just for him.
Yeah, but Kevin didn't. Kevin had never heard it before, so he was objecting. He's like, it's not rocket surgery, it's rocket science,
right,
or brain surgery.
Right, but it's funnier when it's rocket surgery.
It's rocket surgery, but I think but to me, part of the problem also was if you don't call attention to it, then people think that you're not telling a joke, and then I was like, oh well, maybe we should make a joke out of it.
Bill, you know it too. We sometimes have to explain things to Kevin. He catches up eventually.
Hey, so we haven't talked to you in a little while, but you've seen a couple of the previous episodes at least, right? I mean,
seen them all.
We spent a lot of time talking about you in an earlier Talkoma episode, which is the first one when Lemmy played you in the opening episode of the season, where he was the technical consultant and he dressed like you and he drove a car like you. I don't know if you
had a big butt like you.
Well,
that was not my ass.
That was not his ass, and we were very clear that was a different thing. That's just the Lemmy sitting around ass, and that was not a Bill ass. But everything else was kind of like in the Cousin Bill vein.
Even used my car. Used my car and wore a Hawaiian shirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did it all.
Yeah, and then
you tried to tell the director that they were screwing up, and they didn't listen to you.
Exactly.
You guys, on the other hand, listen to me most of the time.
Well, you're the technical consultant with the most juice in Hollywood, because your brother is the creator of the show, or your cousin.
Yeah.
But there are times you'll come up and you'll be like, "No, we're not fucking doing that." And
but we talked about the arc of that in that episode, where in the first season maybe it was a little bit more you're kind of scoping out the thing, but now fourth season, and you know us obviously, me, and now everyone else as well. There's no pretense anymore. You can just walk up and say,
No, now
just go all East Coast on you guys. You guys from California are too soft.
I don't know what he's talking about. He came out one day out here. It didn't even take a day. He shows up on set, convertible, Hawaiian shirt, sunglasses on his head. It's freezing cold out. He's already in shorts.
Freezing cold. See, that's the problem. It was 70. Because it never gets this cold.
California, that's cold, man. 70? Woo!
Yeah.
Come on.
I was like, why is everyone dressed in a parka? They didn't tell me this was a winter scene. I thought we were just shooting a firehouse. Like guys had wool caps on and scarves.
It's cold.
What's going on?
It's cold.
I'm in a t-shirt.
The blood gets thin when you live in the warmth, man.
Oh, yeah.
The blood gets
Listen,
thin
after
quickly.
staying out there for a whole season, I had to put on a little jacket at one point. I tried as hard as I could not to, but this is what happened.
Yeah, we didn't want to hurt your rep. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Your
Well,
East
listen,
Coast
I
rep.
came right out onto the set. I almost had to stop production during this scene because Steve Lemme, as a fire captain at a wake, went up to the bar and ordered a mind eraser. Like, what do you think you're
what
doing?
happened?
Yeah. He goes, what? I'm like, no one drinks. What are you in 8th grade? We don't drink mind erasers. You're a fireman. You're Jameson. Jesus.
You guys don't drink. You don't drink like Jolly Ranchers.
Nah.
Can I have
No, maybe you drink that on your own time, not on my show.
Four woo-woos and a mind eraser, please.
Yeah, he was standing right next to you. You guys, right in the beginning of the wake. You got at the end of the bar, and here's the Dutch and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, a bartender, I'll have a mind eraser. I said, no, you fucking won't.
And then we went right to the bourbons, right?
Yeah, we went sausage and peppers and bourbon. Sausage and peppers and bourbon. It's a good combo.
Typical wake.
That's it. And then the other one of the other episodes that we had talked about you in this Tacoma was the death photo one, where you told us about this concept of the death photo, where we had talked about the concept of a school picture, and all the things you go through, and then you said that you guys have a very similar thing, and you told us about the death photo, and I thought that episode kind of captured it in a funny way.
Listen, ironically, I just got done doing that again with my department. We just took everybody's photo in the whole department. Once again, our death photos. We got a lot of new guys now. There's a lot of big turnover, and we made sure that we got everybody, in the whole department to come down just like you did on the show. Get your uniform on, put your hat on, get over there in front of the camera.
You got to show them the episode in order to train them the importance.
That's
of
it.
That death
We
photo.
could have a training video now. That's perfect.
Boom. Anyway, thank you, Bill. Thank you for being our technical consultant. Thank you for making our show authentic and reputable, and just good. And thank you for being Dutch Angles. It's Kevin Costner in The Big Chill. You're Kevin Costner in The Big Chill.
Right. I have used that analogy on many occasions since I did that.
You're the guy in the coffin, and
It'll be my breakout role.
Way more FaceTime than Costner got in Big Chill, though. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, they cut him completely.
Yeah.
They cut him completely out.
Yeah.
Just his hand or something like that.
Well, listen, I've been thinking, and I kind of screwed myself by playing a dead guy because now I can never be on a show again.
Not true.
However, if you ever watched Rescue Me, I can come back as a ghost.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That might be a great episode.
That could be good. Or we can put you in a multiverse.
Multiverse, or we could do flashbacks. You gotta get me my man MC Gainey.
Sure.
We can do the actual wood chipper moment.
We do the wood chipper moment. Look, we can even dig him up again. We just wrote 5 episodes, guys. That's how easy TV is.
All right, thanks, Bill. Good talking to you. We'll see you.
Hey guys, always a pleasure.
All right, always good to talk to Cousin Bill.
Love Cousin Bill.
Always good to talk to Cousin Bill.
Good mustache.
You want to see a gag reel?
Oh, I'd love to see a gag reel.
You want to see a gag reel?
Gag reel time.
Have you seen Nope? Nope. Have you seen Up? Yup. Hey, look, there's Robertson.
That's fucking stupid.
She just said that the photos came from...
What is it, Shag? Stick to the plan, all right?
We are coming up with the plan.
I just made the
now,
plan.
man. She just made the plan.
This is the worst alliance ever.
Didn't pay attention, man. Things move fast. What are we doing again?
Hey, do you think he knows that vowels are all connected to this?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, it also depends on, the severity of the...
Sorry. That's how we signed up for the... Yeah, that's how we paid our registration fee. Yeah, that's how... What is it? Sign up fee. Entry fee. Yeah, that's how we... Yeah, that's how we paid.
You're camera guy. Yeah, you're camera guy.
Camera guy, you just watch it back there.
Yeah, you don't have a nickname, camera guy.
You're just camera guy. Camera guy A and camera guy B.
It's not working. Ass tough or ass stuff?
I take that one back.
I'm gonna try it. Don't put that one in.
Hey, if Dutch taught us anything, it's that life is short. But so is Fensterman, so it's okay. I'm kidding. Fensterman, I'm kidding. Come on.
You're short too, but easy.
Yeah, but not as short as Fensterman. Dutch drank enough green beer to kill a village of leprechauns. And then what happened?
He fucked them.
Hey, watch your language back there. We all showered with the guy. We've seen it.
He got a huge dick. You suck, but easy.
Hey,
You're
you cut.
killing it.
Yeah, shut up.
Oh, man.
I had to give you some heckling,
Well, that's the thing.
For
It's
the
like
shooting of that. I mean, you need a little heckling to get your...
Well, when you're also
your
giving a
dander
toast,
up.
when you're giving a toast, you're expecting laughs. And so that was the thing where I was supposed to be giving a raucous toast.
That's right.
That's doing well.
But for
And
sound purposes,
no one
is
laugh.
allowed to laugh.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes it, it's like doing like a bombing stand-up bit.
I was bombing.
Yeah, you're up there bombing.
Yeah.
And it only makes your performance worse.
Exactly.
So I decided to start heckling you.
Which was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And, you know, and even then the extras started laughing and crew started laughing. And
all right, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks to Cousin Bill for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks to LP and Chandra Thomas for doing a great job on this episode, which I love. And
thank you, Kev.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for being a beautiful person.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.